Hey boys, it's me again, bringing you another NSL game. I competed here against NakaSC, a very talented Zerg player. So another ZVZ. This series is going to be casted by none other than XUN, who's a big friend of the channel. He also casted this time solo, so something that he's not really used to, but I still think he did a fantastic job. Definitely check him and Naka. Naka's also a caster as well. I'll throw his link down in the description. Check out all those links down below. As for my feelings about this series, I feel like I played pretty well. I'm pretty proud of my play here, even though it was ZVZ and I haven't practiced a whole lot. I did get some practice in with XUN beforehand. Made me feel a little bit more confident about my play. For some background, I'm around 1600 to 1700 kind of peak, and I think that Naka is rated 1700 to 1800. I was a little bit nervous going into this one. I knew he was going to be a tough challenge, but I just stuck to my guns, continued with my 9 pool, kind of what I know and what I know to be strong in the matchup. Feels like as long as I play well enough and I get the right scouting information, then I can pretty much adapt to whatever my opponent is doing, and that's proven to be true, at least in the past. So guys, enjoy this series between me and NakaSC. This is going to be a quick best of 3 set, so thank you guys for watching. See you later.
Oh, look who we've got here, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere, because we've got none other than your boy sitting in the caster booth currently, Naka, spawning in the top right on Neverland as the red Zerg, sorry. I'm just thinking, Naka, like, you should win this game, I think. I think you're slightly ahead in Saiyan's MMR, but I have a feeling that my boy over here, SaiyanSC on Team Love Boat, spawning in the bottom left as the purple Zerg, yeah, he's kind of been, like, you know, receiving a little bit of a personal coaching from me lately, and I kind of feel like maybe... Did you have some struggles in this series at all?
I will say, no discredit to Saiyan at all, because he played really well. I was up for about 38 hours by the time I played this series, so I definitely wasn't feeling it my greatest. But the training that you put on him, he definitely showed some really strong play, some micro and some mechanics that I wasn't expecting from him at all. I do think overall I'm probably slightly above him, but I don't think it's a very large skill gap, if there is a skill gap at all.
Okay, well, it looks like both players going to be throwing down that 9 pool. I do believe it's probably going to be 9 pool lair from at least one of them, maybe both of them here. I think Saiyan will definitely go for 9 pool lair, and we'll be down to Naka, and we're actually not going to be throwing down his gas at all, so we're going to be a little 9 pool expand action from Naka. Okay, I see you with your little meta plays here. A little gasless 9 pool.
Don't be trying to assume my builds already, sir. I pull out some sneaky stuff.
Some sneaky stuff. You're taking your gas a little bit delayed, though, no matter what you're doing here. So definitely some sneaky stuff for sure coming out of Naka over here, and actually making 3 drones. Okay, you're up to no good with this style. I can tell you that much.
I can tell you those were supposed to be Zerglings, but I do make the best of the situation as best I can.
There's no way that was, like, intentional and you had lined up to do that. And this would be only if you were, like, completely hard metagaming and you knew it would be like 9 pool.
Know exactly what they're doing and just trying hard. Yeah.
And you're making
some absolute cheekiness.
Making some cheekiness coming out here from our player. A little bit of a weird play from him. Going to be trying to make a creep colony to stabilize against any early Ling pressure, but with this lair coming out first from Saiyan, not going to be seeing any pressure from him for the time being. Not having that Ling speed on the way makes him want to be a little bit more cautious with his own Lings.
Not the accidental drones is flying. I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one that's done that before. It could be worse. I had a series, like, I think it was last NSL, where I 4-pulled and was, like, so autopilot that I made drones instead of Zerglings with the 4-pull.
I mean, it happens, right? To the best of us. I've sometimes even made like 2 overlords in a row. Like it happens, Like we do
It's
these
always rough.
we do these crazy mistakes as like lava management is hard, man. And when you're operating on little sleep or whatever else you've got currently dealing with, like it can sometimes throw you off your game and make these kind of weird blunders. It's kind of a hard race to play in that sense. Definitely a unique race. One of the 3. Going to be putting down his spy is now SaiyanSC with the lair of Naka's just about to finish up. So as long as he can get the minerals that he needs to throw down his own spire momentarily, he will be okay. This isn't a bad timing for him to worry about. The spire's not too much in advance of his own.
Yeah, I think that the panic creep colony because of those drones definitely is going to bite me a little bit here, because the spire should be going down now.
Yeah, the fact that the Spire is late does open him up to some damage here. He may even be forced to make some Scourge instead of Mutas initially to try and deal with the earlier Muta timing of SaiyanSC, currently having his Lings outside the natural. Going to be poking in, trying to get a bit of 2-on-1 action to open up this this natural hole. If he can get a few extra Ling trades, it would be nice for him, but it doesn't necessarily need to be going for that right now, especially because he does open himself up to a little bit of counterplay in case Saiyan was deciding to be a little bit cheeky of his own and have a little bit extra Ling on the way. He does have 1 pair of Zerglings currently banked, so would be a little bit risky here for Naka right now, because if Saiyan was being a little bit more aggressive with these Zerglings, it could be really disastrous for him, because he could put pressure on this natural hatchery, forcing Naka to have to make Lings instead of drones would really cripple his economy further. Currently getting the Carapace Air armor upgrade on the Spire. I need to keep remembering that maybe Naka's not going to talk when I stop talking, since it is him playing, so probably going to be relying on me during the majority of the cast. I need to remember that. Okay, so does have 2 creep colonies set up in his main base with the evolution chair. They're going to be making 2 spores there with another couple of spores in his natural as well. Does need to be getting spores up in both locations to both cover the gas and the minerals, but actually these 2 spores in the main base are slightly split up enough that he could, if he wanted to, focus down 1 spore at a time with his Mew account if he so choose. Would be interested to see if Saiyan wants to commit to purely air units right now, or try and squeeze out a natural expansion of his own. Needs to be able to figure out something here, because with these spores going up, he is going to eventually lose the air superiority battle once Naka starts getting both of these gases mining. He does have this air carapace upgrade on the way early on though, so we'll have an upgrade lead at least that he can use. Zerglings coming in to try and see if they can squeeze into the main base to find maybe some drone kills and get a scout off of what exactly is set up here to defend against these initial Mutas. 4 Mutas and 2 Scourge currently out for Saiyan. Going to be trying to come in to find something here, but it's going to be difficult with these spore placements. He needs to go up to like 8 Mutas very quickly and start overpowering these spores one at a time in the main base, but meanwhile the Spire is now already done for Naka, so would be able to start squeezing out Scourge of his own to reinforce these positions. So really hard position for Saiyan to break, so instead wisely going to be just taking his natural expansion of his own. Coming in here, trying to see if he can get an angle off on these drones with these Mews. He does currently have 5, which is enough to start one-shotting these drones. Naka not currently mining a lot of gas. He already has some banked up, just currently trying to get all his drones squeezed out as much as possible. 1 drone biting the dust, 2 those Mews coming in again for another gas drone. Does able to get another one there, so really good pickups from SaiyanSC coming in and picking off some of these. Needs to be careful not to lose that Mew. Does lose the Mew, but did get a few of those drones at the cost of that Mew, so really good trade there for SaiyanSC, reducing the drone count to just 1 ahead of him right now, so currently almost evening the worker count. Is still not mining that second gas though, so still advantage Naka, but with these Muta forces able to kill any transitioning units from the main and natural, does kind of give him a small advantage. Ling counterattack from Naka. They're going to be hitting this natural hatchery and the slow Lings of SaiyanSC, so he needs to pull his Mutas back now. Some Lings are trying to trade off against the Lings of Saiyan, while the rest of the Lings hit the hatchery to bring it down lower and lower on the hit points. It is so close to finishing. Mutas are now coming in to try and save that. He might just barely be able to save it, but 2 more Zerglings coming in will not make the difference anyway, so it is going to be able to save that just barely in the nick of time. 340 hit points left on that hatchery for SaiyanSC, so a nice little pickup from him, forcing all those lava and Lings to essentially go for waste unless he can come in there and pick that hatchery off again in the future. So currently a good position to be in for both players, because we have the superior earlier economy for Naka, but the upgrade advantage for Saiyan and slightly superior Muta count, so neither player really in an advantageous position. It will come down to micro still. We see the drones being sniped off in the natural base. 2 more drones coming out, and then the mutas getting on top of them now. There's only 4 mutas here though, so Saiyan could have taken some shots off on those mutas and start to fight them back, and was a little bit hesitant to do so. Could have got some free volleys off on those mutas. He currently has a superior count of mutas. Saiyan needs to be a lot more aggressive in these situations and trying to mitigate Naka from getting a larger superior count of mutas gradually, but I don't think Saiyan's got a good enough read on the situation and thinks that maybe there's more mutas than there actually are for Naka. So currently going to be getting his natural gas online is Saiyan now, currently even up on workers and supply more or less, but does have that +1 carapace finished up while going for that +2, as well as Naka starting his +1 carapace of his own. So going to be having that armor advantage by a large margin is SaiyanSC going forward. So with this gas now online for SaiyanSC, I would say he's in a pretty good spot, and with good micro he should be able to take out Naka in game number 1 here with this carapace advantage. The one thing that he has to worry about is that these spores enable Naka to be a lot more aggressive with his own mutas, whereas SaiyanSC has to be a lot more passive with his, risking losing drones for free if he does move out and get caught out of position. We do now see Saiyan's mutas starting to move out and then coming back. Overlord does see the bad news of the mutas coming into the main base, so he's going to have to swoop down here soon. Might lose a couple of these overlords or drones in the process. Does get on top of these mutas with those Scourge, beautiful Scourge connections, but there's a superior muta count I think for SaiyanSC here, so he will be clearing up the remainder of these mutas of Naka. So the edge goes to SaiyanSC in that engagement. Scourge connections were not sufficient enough for Naka there, so really good play for SaiyanSC shutting down the muta count of Naka. Currently taking a bit of a lead in this game by 2 drones and 10 supplies, so definitely favor hearing him right now with the armor upgrade advantage as well. Saiyan looks like he's looking pretty strong in this game, and I'll be pretty surprised if he doesn't pull out a win here. Currently 2 Scourge making their way downtown on the right hand side of the map, looking around, seeing if they can find anything. There is an Overlord down here they could pick off if he so chooses, but he might not want to waste the Scourge for taking out an Overlord that his Mutalist can deal with for free, so instead going to be just shuffling around, seeing what he can find with those Scourge, scouting around, currently being a lot more passive with his muta count than you would think usually, purely because of the advantage of these spores. Means he has to be a lot more reserved in his calculations, because it is possible for Naka to move out with the safety of those spores and put on a lot of pressure, so needs to be a lot more cautious. Oh, going to be maybe catching this drone before it gets out to make an expansion. Does see it and start to go into chase, but then now the muta's in pursuit, going to be picking off those Scourge for free at least, so going to be a little bit of a nice pickup for Saiyan to get the drone, but does take a little bit of damage on its mutas in the process. Currently muta advantage of 10-8 with the armor upgrade advantage. He should be able to just commit and start trading volleys with Naka soon and building a bigger and bigger lead. It will be nice for him to pick up any of these lings and drones that are coming out from Naka to prevent any kind of counter damage or a further expansion play from him, as he is already getting his 3rd base up online to take that advantage in the gas and production going forward here. Looks like some Ling dying in the natural. It did try and make its way all the way across the map to try and kill a drone or something, but it's eventually going to be taken out. But it did drag the mutas out of position a little bit. Now Naka going to be moving out with his mutas of his own to the south as well. Maybe trying to go for a counterattack, but with 2 spores, it would be interesting to see if Saiyan tries to commit here, but I don't think he necessarily will. He may try and find the mutas and locate them and try and engage, trade with them. There are currently a couple of mutas out of position that will go down instantly to those Scourge. Nice pickoffs from Saiyan there, beautiful connections, but now mutas flying into the main base of Saiyan as it's undefended. This is the spore advantage that Naka has in this game that Saiyan has taken for granted. Now the mutas flying into the main base, going to be getting on top of all of these drones and the rallying mutas. Some Scourge coming in from the distance to try and squeeze out some damage out onto these mutas to weaken them up enough that he can start trading with them more and more. And as the mutas now flying to reinforce, he will be able to clean up all of these mutas from Naka, which actually will put Saiyan ahead quite significantly in superiority. We do have this 3rd base going down from Naka in the bottom right corner of the map, but Saiyan's already got this base online here, so it looks like Saiyan actually has the advantage right now. He's even on work account and head and muta count. Still has that upgrade advantage, though Naka is slowly starting to get his own upgrades going. +1 attack now on the way for him, but only +2 carapace with no further upgrades on the way for Saiyan. So Naka might slowly catch up in the upgrades as time progresses, but currently right now at a deficit. But this armor upgrade is huge. Not only does it mitigate damage from the first shot of the Muse, but it takes away damage from the bounces as well. So you're not just getting a damage mitigation of 1, you're probably getting a damage mitigation average of 2.5 per armor value of these Muse in these fights. So it's absolutely exponential value having these armor upgrades in these fights. Now Muse coming into natural of Saiyan yet again, going to be ravaging this drone line, trying to even up the odds of this economy. Saiyan needs to get on top of these Muse and start trading. One volley goes down, takes off the first Muse. He's going to be able to clear up all these Muse for only losing a few drones. It's pretty good for him, but he needs to be able to make it count. And once he kills all these Muse, he needs to go in to full aggression mode and start taking out one of these spores at a time and coming into the main base of Naka and putting on his own pressure as well. Currently even on work account after squeezing out a few more drones, going to be now racing ahead himself. So looking pretty good is Saiyan. Has a huge gas bank as well, so could also be pumping out a few Scourge to support these Mutas, forcing the Mutas of Naka to have to micro and be zoned out, making his own huge pairs of Scourge to deal with the huge superior fleet of Mutas from Saiyan. So it looks like both players in a bit of a weird situation right now. I would say still definitely favored towards Saiyan, but he's not aware of this base in the bottom right hand corner of the map, so a little bit untenable for him if he doesn't scout that and just keeps going and doesn't really do anything. But right now he still should be ahead of Naka for quite some time, as long as he doesn't make any major blunders here. But he needs to find and force an engagement with his Mutas against Naka soon, because he has the advantage, but he's not yet leveraged it against Naka. Still a little bit worrisome about dealing with the fact that he hasn't got spores set up, so he needs to be worried about counterattacks constantly. Has even got a Queen's Nest built, so we'd be interested to see if he could maybe even get End Snare with a Queen, or maybe go into Hive and get +3 carapace upgrades, or maybe even a Devourer would be interesting. Some Scourge connecting on these 2 Mutas that were flying down here scouting around, so 2 Mutas going to be going down for free. But Saiyan does confirm the 3rd base location of Naka now, but sees the bad news that there's already spores set up there, so a little bit worrisome for him that he's not been pressing his air superiority advantage in this game thus far. So I feel like maybe Naka could slowly start to turn the game on him in the coming few minutes, but I still feel like Saiyan should win this game from this position. It's still looking very Saiyan favored. He even could get, like I said before, could get up into Hive Tech, could get Devourers, could get Queens and Ensnare, could get even a Defiler. He could even just Plague as well. Like, I know it seems kind of crazy, but yeah, like at this stage in the game when you've already can get Hive Tech online and you're kind of starting to stabilize by building spores and turtling up a little bit, yeah, definitely could be going into Defiler play with Plagues here, maybe Devours. We do start to see the Hive on the way for SaiyanSC right now. Don't see any more further upgrades from either player. So if Saiyan isn't getting an upgrade right now, it also might be indicative that he does want to make a Greater Spire, because the timing of it, you would need to be making an upgrade way in advance of making this Hive before needing to make the Greater Spire. So he will not, if he did make an upgrade, he'd have to cancel it to make the Greater Spire. So we'd be curious to see if he does go for that and tries to maybe get out a Devourer or maybe even a Guardian in this game. Would be nice to see those Hive Tech units in a ZVZ for once. Currently, Naka's at 27 drones to SaiyanSC's 36, so really big advantage for SaiyanSC in this game, and has like 1900 gas in the bank. We do see +2 carapace coming online for Naka slowly but surely, so we'll eventually take an upgrade advantage over Saiyan at this rate, which is kind of shocking considering how far Saiyan was ahead in upgrades previously. But it's going to be popping out this Hive momentarily. I want to see how he's going to utilize this. Is it going to be Greater Spire? Is it going to be Defiler Mound? I'm very curious what we're going to see from SaiyanSC going into this late game ZVZ action here on Neverland. Game number 1 between these 2 Titan-sized players, making them both look normal relative to one another. Greater Spire, there it is. So it's going to be some crazy action here. Could be Devourers, could be Guardians. I'm pretty sure it's going to be definitely Devourers because we do have this Muta fleet. Currently, Muta's running away from Scourge in the middle of the map. Ooh, some flanking Scourge going to be connecting as well, forcing Naka to lose quite a few of the Mutas. Beautiful Scourge connection on those Mutas. Wow. SaiyanSC. Wow. Great Muta. Great Scourge connections on Naka's Mutas there. Really showing your caliber in this game here. I'm pretty impressed with that micro thus far. We do see Naka kind of just turtling up right now, getting his carapace, getting more mutas, still just mining nothing but gas down here at the bottom. Now starting to pop out a few more drones to make maybe a couple more spores to re-fortify, but we do have the mutas down in this bottom right quadrant, going to start killing overlords and getting on top of these creep colonies before they're able to morph into spores. So a little bit of a troublesome situation here for Naka, but he does have 12 mutas on the way coming down to help. Saiyan has 6 mutas from the left hand side with another 8 to the bottom, so it is still advantage Saiyan. He's going to get on top of these mutas and start fighting them. Spore is being morphed in underneath though. Once that finishes mutating, it will help out in this muta fight, so it will be a slightly hard fight to call, but I think it's going to be slightly Saiyan favored because he did kill a lot of these mutas quickly at the start of the game and now has enough DPS to finish the spore off, as you can see. So Saiyan shutting down this expansion, going to be a bit of a nightmare situation. We do have 3 Devourers on the way for Saiyan as well. GG called from Naka, convincing win from Saiyan there in game number 1. Well, we're going to be jumping straight into map number 2 here. It's going to be Paradiso as the map of choice from Naka. We have here spawning in the top right, currently 1-0 up in the series. It's SaiyanSC as the bluish grey Zerg and his opponent in the bottom right. A little bit of a hard time of it, but apparently he's woken up now, so let's see if he can play a bit more alert, a bit more aware. It's none other than Naka in the bottom right here on Paradiso as the red Zerg. Alright, so I have a feeling that Saiyan's gonna play 9 Poulet again. I think. I don't know for sure, but I think he's going to play 9 Poulet. Is that what you worked on him with? It's not what necessarily I worked on him with, it's just what I know he's most comfortable with. I've taught him and talked to him about a lot of different ways of approaching ZVZ and different things you can do, but he is finding a lot more comfort in the 9-pool layer method, I would say. 9-pool layer methodology.
It's a very standard and very comfortable way to play for Zerg in this matchup. Gives you the safety you need for pretty much everything and gives you the aggression you need for pretty much everything else, so it's a very solid build.
I have shown him a few other things as well, but it does seem like he likes to go for this 9-pool layer style. It's a bit of a point of comfort for him for the time being. You see Naka in the bottom right, gas tricking out, going to be doing a little bit of 10 hatch action. Ah, you dirty dog. Gonna be throwing down that 10 hatch. This is the CPL cheese build where you basically want to get out as much lava as possible, as quick as possible, so going to be gas tricking out a drone, then most likely going to be gas tricking out another drone, and then making the pool. Oh, you're going to make the pool on 9. Okay, so you're not even going to optimize the lava. Oh, okay, Naka, okay.
Who needs to optimize the larva when you're already going to have more larva?
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So you're going to be having a very early pool timing as well as doing this fast build. But yeah, basically it's like 12 hatch, except you're not going to have that economic boon, but you are going to have a much earlier lava production from having such a fast hatchery. So able to make such a larger amount of Zerglings than you would usually be able to. But it doesn't transition as well as 12 hatch in the later phases of the game, so it's harder to go into like sporing up and playing a bit more turtle after the fact. So you are kind of dependent on doing a lot of damage with this because you don't have the economy that you would usually have with a 12 hatch to transition and having enough drones and economy to make spores and still survive with a strong enough economy going forward. So it's going to be that 9-pool layer from SaiyanSC sending out his 6 Zerglings already out onto the map. He will be identifying this 9 hatch already with this Overlord, seeing the timing of it. I hope he has identified that it is a 9 hatch and not a 12 hatch, because he might just be thinking it's a 12 hatch and he's going to be targeting down and everything's going to go gravy. But little does he know, maybe, that he's going to have a lot of lings to deal with here shortly. To have some Zerglings running into the main base. Now, if this was 12 hatch, he would be targeting down the hatchery. So the fact that he isn't makes me think that he knows it's 9 hatch and is instead trying to find a little bit of cheeky damage in the main base while distracting at the natural, trying to pick off a drone while distracting Naka with these 4 lings. But Naka's going to do a good job of splitting his lings to deal with those 2 threats and dealing with them nicely. His own ling speed coming online momentarily, halfway done almost, whilst Saiyan's lairs just pop. So going to be throwing down that Spire, but hasn't got any sunken colonies yet. Ooh, drone actually blocking that Spire from going down for a few seconds. I always hate it when that happens. Now going to be throwing down that creep colony, but critically he attacked with his Zergling, so now he has nothing to hold the ramp to delay and buy time for this creep colony to go up. So it's going to be a little bit of a tough hold for him going forward. Naka's lings are coming in a little bit of a line, so won't be too worrying to deal with. Maybe he can just barely squeeze out enough lings to buy time for the sunken to get up, but it's going to be a tight hold nonetheless. Speed is about to pop for Naka. Now we have the ling speed advantage as the sunken pops, but he will hold on for the time being. But I'm not sure 1 sunken's going to be enough. He probably needs to start throwing down a 2nd sunken instantly right now. This is a 10 hatch build, so a lot of lings are going to be coming out. There's the 2nd sunken. It's not the best positions though. You almost would like to make it even just more tucked in than that, just because it's going to be so easy for these things to come in here and pick that off momentarily. Here comes Naka with that pincer, trying to get on top of these remaining Zerglings and start getting on top of the sunken colonies. Saiyan doing a pretty good job of blocking the gaps with his lings and drones, buying enough time to stop any surface area from coming down onto the sunken colonies. Doing a good job of holding off for the time being. Creep colony is finished up and sunken colony now done as well, so it's going to stabilize for the time being, and Naka going to just try maybe and transition from here. Is throwing down the evolution chamber, getting ready to make spores, but it's not an ideal position for him. He is currently behind on drones. He is trying to target down that sunken, but then transitions onto the drone. Saiyan needs to be a little bit careful there. Lost a drone a little bit unnecessarily against those lings. But more and more lings in production for Naka here. Going to be trying to do the finishing blow, or at least soften up the drone count of SaiyanSC. You don't necessarily need to kill the sunken colonies, you just need to soften up the drones enough that you can transition, make the spores and be safe, and also have affected the economy of Saiyan enough that it won't matter that he's done a kind of wonky build order going forward into his own transition. Okay, so we do see quite a lot of Zerglings waiting to go in. That's looking like 12 Zerglings with another 4 on the way, so 16 Zerglings. That's more than enough to start doing damage to this drone line. Only 1 muta is popped out for the time being, but it's going to put these Zerglings on a clock, so they have to go now. And they do go in and start to surround this first sunken. Looks like they want to go for the full-on bust. Going to target down this sunken, and then maybe the drones, and then the other sunken. Could be going well for Naka here, doing critical damage thus far, forcing these drones to have to fight, and now could also choose to target down these drones in the process and get a further and further economic lead in this game. Doing a pretty good job is Naka right now, transitioning while also putting the pressure on SaiyanSC. We do have spores on the way, about to finish up in the natural, so no damage is going to be done there either. We are probably going to see only a few mutas at a time, because Saiyan is going to have to start droning up again, and Naka kind of helped him out a little bit by killing that sunken colony, because it's going to fix the mining for SaiyanSC, so he can actually start to mine a little bit more optimally. So kind of helped him out by killing that sunken in some ways, but it doesn't really matter. We do have the huge advantage for Naka going forward. The only thing going for SaiyanSC is the timing of these mutas, but with the spores already out for Naka, it's going to be really tough for Saiyan to find much damage here. Now going to be taking his natural expansion in response to that, rather than relying on finding any damage with his moves, which is the correct choice. There's no way you're going to be able to penetrate these spores anytime soon. You need at least 7 to 8 mutas to start doing that one at a time if you can outrange the other spore. But yeah, it is possible that he could fight those 2 spores in the main and kill the one on the top right, and then open up that position to harassment, but you would have to go all the way up to 7-8 mutas before even being able to attempt that. So not really an ideal situation. It would be a very all-in way of playing, and if some reason that Naka could smell that out and make another spore by that time, it would be all for nothing. So bit of a tough decision to make at this time, so electing to just instead take your own expansion and get your second gas up, maybe come in and try and harass the drones, mining just a little bit, but currently only on 3 mutas, so having to 2-shot the drones rather than 1-shotting them, so really hard to come in here and do damage without taking a lot of unnecessary damage in the process. Lair is on the way for Naka, and it will take a little bit of time before that pops out, but it doesn't really matter about when it pops out relative to SaiyanSC. It's more than quick enough. We have a gas advantage right now, but we do have the Carapace going to be coming online for SaiyanSC in the time to come, so we'll have that upgrade advantage again as we saw in game number 1, so a little bit of a rinse repeat of that. But Zerglings now out in the middle of the map could put on some counter pressure onto SaiyanSC, and he only has 3 Mutas here, so it takes a long time for 3 Mutas to kill all these Zerglings, so he probably will lose some drones, maybe even a building in the process if he's not careful. Some drones now being focused down as the Lings come in, take out all 2 of these drones already going down. The 3rd drone does start to get focused, may fall to these Lings as well, already taking Saiyan down to 12 drones to Naka's 23, looking really bad for SaiyanSC as more of his drones get focused down in the main base. Even though there's a Sunken there, it doesn't matter because more of these drones are falling, and that's going to be bad news bears for him. All that one drone barely surviving with 2 HP. I wish he had just focused that drone down. That is Naka, because that Ling was going to die either way, and that drone was so close to dying. It's unfortunate for him. But it looks like he's done critical damage in this game going forward here. This should be a fairly comfortable victory for Naka going forward. We have everything going for us besides the upgrade advantage, but that shouldn't matter. We have enough gas advantage that from here we should be able to win. We have 24 to 14 workers, so can be able to squeeze out a lot more units in production than Saiyan is able to keep up with for the time being. We do have another little skirmish of 2 Zerglings, going to see if they can make their way into the main base, but Saiyan on top of his Mulis control going to be stopping that. Does have 5 Mutas, so can easily one-shot those Zerglings, killing them efficiently in the process. It's going to be a little bit of time before he's able to squeeze out a lot of Mutas to take advantage of the fact that he has this upgrade advantage, because he did lose a lot of drones, so having to replace those drones mean a lot of lava is being made into drones right now instead of Mutas, which means he's actually going to be behind in Muta count very shortly here, which is going to really favor Naka, having not only the superior colony earlier on, but now going to be having the superior air force as well, with only the upgrade advantage being the only discrepancy for Saiyan. Currently both players just chilling in their main bases. Naka does have the advantage of having spores, so he could move out momentarily. Yes, he is deciding to move out now, which is probably the correct choice. He could maybe start to find 1 or 2 overlords here and there, maybe catch a few Scourge that are roaming around. He doesn't want to commit too deep out onto the map, which is the wise choice, because it is very likely that he is behind in the Muta arms race, so to speak. So he doesn't want to push out too deep out onto the map, but he can roam a little bit with the Mutas, maybe find something here. There's currently 2 Scourge off SaiyanSC making their way around the map, scouting out all these bases, making sure there's no 3rd base for Naka. But right as they make their way out of the natural 3rd, their drone moves down there to maybe take that as an expansion. So a little bit of a mistimed scout from Saiyan, not going to be confirming that 3rd for some time. And now here comes the huge move out of some Zerglings into the natural, while the Mutas fly into the main, dealing with 2 attacks in 2 locations with just 1 force unit. It's going to be tricky for Saiyan. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place as the Mutas start devastating the drones in the main base, while the Lings go to town on the drones in the natural. And he's losing so many drones right now. It's a really bad news situation for Saiyan to have to deal with, because just as soon as the Lings dry up, he can now fly out with the Mutas, so he won't even be able to catch the Mutas of Naka in the process. And now another counterattack of 2 Lings, beautifully executed from Naka, going to be doing a nice counterattack, finding more damage on SaiyanSC in the natural expansion, kind of outmaneuvering him there, forcing him to go to and fro, back and forth with a nice little 1-2 punch action from Naka, kind of what you have to do in this matchup to find little free bits of damage to disrupt your opponent by forcing them to multitask. Like, you know, you look over here and I punch you there kind of thing. It's a pretty beautiful thing to see in ZVZ. You don't see people execute that thing very consistently unless you're at like a more higher S rank or pro level, but it's nice to see at the lower echelons games as well, because it is a hard maneuver to pull off consistently, and it seems like Naka's done a good job of demonstrating here how to pull off these maneuvers to get small advantages and keep snowballing your lead gradually, and eventually we'll take a superior Muta count here going forward. Looks like we have 11 Mutas, 6 Scourge for Saiyan, but we have so many Mutas for Naka here. Looks like that's at least 15 Mutas coming up. There is a flock of Scourge trying to intercept and get some damage onto them. Ooh, miss micro from Naka to try and kill one of them. Actually going to be eating some of those shots. And now Saiyan is going to be diving on top of that with his +1 Carapace. But it doesn't matter because Naka's got his own +1 Carapace. Surprise, motherfucker. Saiyan has to tap out. GG is called the superior Mew account of Naka. Unfortunately, too much for him to bear, and he's going to be tying up that series here. So yeah, Naka looking pretty strong so far, going into game number 3. Alright guys, well we're going to be going right on in to game number 3 between SaiyanSC and none other than your boy in the caster booth currently, Naka. So we do have spawning in the top left as the magenta Zerg, SaiyanSC. Currently the series being tied up. He looked a little bit weaker in that game number 2 than game number 1. Can he pull it out? Can he pull the dub for Team Snow's Forgotten Bros, his opponent in the bottom right? That's the red Zerg, none other than Naka. That fiery red, looking rather sexy on that Zerg race. Looks pretty good. Not many colors do look good on Zerg, but I would definitely say these two are strong contenders for one of the best Zerg color options you have, right?
I 100% agree. I'm a magenta player. Sorry?
Purple is the best color. If we didn't play this on shield battery, I'd be purple all day.
Okay. Well, go ahead, Azhi.
Yeah,
I care more about your opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a big magenta player in general. I like playing magenta for all races, but I definitely feel like magenta looks good on Zerg. And ever since I was a kid, I felt like red was the most intimidating Zerg color. Like when you see a big blob of red Zerg coming at you, it just feels really intimidating.
Right, yeah. Do you think there's something psychological about that as well? Like the red being a big threat sort of a color, you know, like kind of identifying it as, oh, this is dangerous, you know, like built into it. Do you think there's something built into us as well? Like, I think purple is probably psychologically the least threatening color, and maybe red one of the most threatening colors. What do you think?
I think it depends on the person. For me, I'm more of a bull, so when I see red, I just get really angry, and I just think I gotta kill that.
Red is dead.
So shift tab guarantees wins for me.
I see. That's definitely a good strategy to have if that's working out for you. Okay, we're going to be seeing the very fast hatchery first from Naka yet again, getting that sort of like really early, like 10 hatchery, and then optimizing his lava with this fast pool timing. So do you think that Saiyan's just going to die in the same fashion as we saw in game number 2, or do you think he's going to have a little bit of an adjustment going forward against this style again?
I didn't really see a lot of it, but if it plays out the same, like I did hear Naka say that he saw that Saiyan was maybe weak in the multitasking area, so if he gets a little bit of this lead, then it'll definitely be easier for him to kind of tax his multitasking later on.
Yeah, and Saiyan has basically elected to do the exact same build order in all 3 of the games, which does open you up to being metagamed, essentially. So it's a little bit of a weakness to go for the exact same play every single game. I would have liked to see him throw in some of the variations and other styles I've been talking with him about, but would have been interesting to see if he threw out a 10 hatch or 9 hatch of his own against Naka, though Naka is the more experienced Zerg player, so probably would still be able to outmaneuver him in that situation. So I don't necessarily blame him going for this style, but would have liked to have seen a little bit of a mix-up.
So we actually pulled off gas for Naka. I guess this indicates we're going to go pretty heavy on lanes, yeah?
Yeah. This is like in BGH, when you go 9 hatch, sometimes you're just going to be pulling off of gas right away and just really committing hard into those lings initially, and then you have enough minerals to transition into spores if you do need to, but you do have to find damage with those lings at the start of the game. We see 2 Zerglings for Saiyan waiting at the natural third as well. Could be doing a little bit of a run-by action, but they might be intercepted by these rallied Zerglings of Naka. Ooh, they're going to be intercepted if he's not careful. Yeah, so the lings do get spotted from Saiyan, so he's not going to be able to find too much damage with these 2 Zerglings going into the main base, which is a little bit unfortunate. Could have been a little bit more careful with the timing of those lings going into the main base to find maybe some more critical damage, but are going to be cleaned up quite nicely. Does target fire down a drone, gets down to 1 HP, but doesn't get the pick off. Now we see at the natural expansion area of SaiyanSC, a little bit of a ling trade on the top of the ramp, some lings trying to get some 2-on-1 action going, seeing if he can get into the main base with that speed upgrade advantage to try and get some surface area to fight with. But we do currently have 11 lings to Naka's, I think that's like 10, 12 with another 14, so a total of 16 lings coming up soon here, so he will be able to break in very shortly. Does get up the ramp, starts to get some surface area, but good concave, going to be shutting that down from SaiyanSC. If you can keep resetting up these concaves and trapping these lings as they can't, it's going to be good surface area for SaiyanSC to work with here, so he's done a good job of mitigating the ling advantage of Naka thus far in this game. Currently 9 lings to 9.
Yeah, we have the Spire finishing up for Saiyan, so the Evo Chamber is going down. We got a lot more lings coming in behind us, but Naka's going to have a pretty low drone count once he drops spores here. But I imagine maybe after this wave of lings here, we're going to go back into drone. I actually kind of would like to have seen drones instead of these extra 12 lings here, because I don't think he's going to be able to break through. And if he does, we have like the sunken to fall back to as well. So Naka's ego is going to be pretty low. So yeah, now we got the drones coming in, so we're going to be dropping spores behind these lings.
This is the problem in this matchup, is that when you go for this 9 hatch style instead of 12 hatch, you don't have a big economy, so it's a little bit tricky, but the lings do get inside and beautiful surface area, so we'll get a fairly cost-efficient trade. But now the 3 Mutalisks are out. We have 1 Muta coming in to help out at the ramp, while the other 2 fly all the way in a beeline to the natural expansion area of SaiyanSC. Creep colonies, he cancels it and replaces it into another position, so these 2 Mutas can actually start target firing down this creep colony and put a lot of damage out onto it first, but he could also just target down some drones more critically, which is what he should do, because you can't actually kill the creep colony with just 2 of the mutas, but you can kill at least 3 of these drones with these 2 mutas, especially if you do good chase micro. You can even kill up to 4, maybe even 5 of these drones as they transition back into the main base. So it's really good damage from SaiyanSC getting in here and softening up this drone count before the spore was even able to come online.
And then Muta gets away with 2 HP here. From here, we're going to need to see maybe a lot more drone from Saiyan. And do you feel like he needs to take a natural? I feel like he should, right? He's going to have map control with the Muta. Naka, with the spore coverage and stuff, he can go pretty heavy into drones now, so...
But there's 2 plays here. We either go up to 7 or 8 Muta and break the spores one at a time, because there's only 1 spore currently in the natural. So we could break the spore in the natural here. There's actually one other play. There's 2 other plays. We either break the spores with going up to 8 Muta, or we flood lings and try and use the lings to overwhelm him because he's only making drones and spores currently, or we start taking our expansion. Those are the 3 main options available to us right now as SaiyanSC. Coming in right now, getting some more drone kills with these mutas. Great pickup from him. If he can get... he loses one of the mutas. Unfortunately, he did have 2 red HP mutas and does lose one of them.
We do have 2 vulnerable overlords here, and they're going to start getting picked away at here. I think we get both, almost definitely.
We should.
So with that, Saiyan's actually going to have the drone lead, and we're moving to take our natural, so I really like this play from Saiyan so far.
Yeah,
as long as we keep Naka on the defensive here, and we're picking off drones, like sitting between the rally here is really nice because it makes it harder to make use of this natural, right? So yeah, we'll have to like maybe possibly oversaturate them in a little bit in this case, and then yeah, it allows Saiyan to catch up a fair amount here on eco.
Yeah, and he's throwing down that expansion now, and has his Carapace upgrade on the way, so we'll be having a upgrade advantage going forward. So really nice from him if he can stay between these 2 bases. It will be a long time until Naka has his own mutas and Scourge to fight off these. So it is a little bit of a thorn in his side. He can't make drones to transfer down into his natural right now. He's trying to do it. Look, and these drones are just going to get sniped off easily like that. So this is the problem. He can't saturate his natural properly right now. So even though he has a production and eco lead, it's actually not being fully utilized right now. So really good positional play from Saiyan, taking advantage of this fact that he can sit between these 2 bases.
Yeah, we have the Spire on the way now. Yeah, I mean, Saiyan's doing a good job of not falling behind, like using these Muta to kind of keep himself like in a decent lead, and we're actually picking out these drones as they hatch. So like really, really good play from Saiyan there, kind of sitting on the eggs and catching them on the outside away from the spores.
Yeah, still finding more and more damage with the mutas as well, picking off more and more drones as time progresses, which is really great. Look, if he can just keep camping the eggs as well and sniping off units as they hatch, it's really cost efficient to do this kind of thing. I'm really happy that I'm seeing Saiyan play like this right now. He's not necessarily playing perfectly right now, but he's showing that he's improved.
Yeah, for sure. Don't want to bleed off too many mutas here. We do have Naka on 2 gas with the Spire coming down, so like right now Saiyan's fine, right? He's gonna have the upgrade lead, he's got a okay like Muta count and decent gas bank, so he's not gonna fall behind now, but you don't want to bleed off too many Muta. We also forced out an extra spore there to protect the eggs from Naka, so that was really, really good.
Yeah, a couple of links coming into the natural expansion of SaiyanSC. Not able to find a drone kill. 3 HP left on that drone, so nice cleanup from those mutas. Going to be denying further damage, but there is 4 lings waiting in the wing. If these mutas do not spot them, there could be more damage received. Saiyan doing a good job of just flying around, scouting with his mutas, trying to find any potential counterattacks coming in. Here comes the 4 Zerglings now. Mutas are in position to clean this up, but he could lose at least 1 drone potentially. Ooh, nice cleanup. 1 HP. 1 HP on that drone. That's crazy. Okay, we see.
Yeah, and I actually like the timing on when Saiyan pulled back, because with the extra spore coming down and stuff, and at this point there wasn't a whole lot of like safety sitting between here with the Spire coming up and everything as well. You don't want to be caught by Scourge, so I feel like the timing on Saiyan pulling back there to get defensive for a moment was really good.
Is going to be coming in set natural yet again, getting a little bit of a damage on the mutas, as well as taking out one more drone, doing what he can to limit the economic growth of Naka. He does have that earlier hatchery timing, so has been able to squeeze out more drones during this time, but so many drones have fallen that he's kind of evened things out a little bit. There is a huge bank of gas for Saiyan as well, so if he can just squeeze out some of his own drones and start pumping mutas, it's going to be kind of like a repeat of game number 1, where he just had so many more mutas than Naka. I have talked to Saiyan in detail about how to deal with these turtling Zergs that kind of like just want to make spores and chill like this, and he is currently doing a few of the things that I talked to him about. Is maybe catching these mutas if he gets on top of this. This is really big for Saiyan, killing one of these mutas. He needs to be careful though. The beautiful Scourge connections, forcing him in retreat. He still has the muta advantage 7-5, and one of these mutas for Naka is also low, so they're about 2 mutas ahead of him in right this second, so is currently ahead in air superiority. Needs to be throwing down this third hatchery, it does say, and that's one of the things I've been talking to him a lot about, is taking these earlier thirds when dealing with this kind of strategy from the red Zerg we see here. Naka, one thing you can do is by squeezing out this early third base and getting a little gas lead over him as time progresses, and kind of whittling down and mitigating his early advantage that he once had from taking these early bases and trying to turtle up.
Yeah, this situation looks pretty bad for Naka at this point. Like, Saiyan has a muta lead and pretty massive gas bank, and I actually like this call to go spores, because what I was just about to say was the only time I ever see like a Zerg come back from a situation like this is because they have the defensive spore set up. They're able to get a little bit more aggressive and like counterattack and that kind of thing, so it can work out sometimes where they can pull it back a little bit in that sense, but with the spores going down for Saiyan, it actually completely mitigates that opportunity.
Yeah, I feel like he's playing a little bit scared. I don't think he realizes just how far in the muta count he is, and he has so much gas banked up, so wasting minerals on spores and such is really not a great situation. It would have been much better if he had just first thrown down that hatchery and then defended with... Ooh, he's going to lose that drone right as it comes in. Scourge, ooh, beautiful snipes though, denying those Scourge good connections, and now going to be in hot pursuit of those mutas of Naka. Saiyan does know how to get good sharp angles with patrol micro in chase. As you can see there, beautiful micro from SaiyanSC. Yeah, we've done a lot of muta micro together, and he knows quite a few things about muta micro now that maybe a lot of these lower ranked Zergs don't. So he is going to be able to pull out little tricks like that to squeeze out a volley where other Zerg players wouldn't be able to find the vector or angle to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess maybe you're right. Maybe a little preemptive on the spores, I guess. Like, I kind of like the idea of the spores, but I guess in this case, because our gas bank is so massive, if we just spin the gas, right, we're so unbelievably far ahead. So I guess that should take priority over the spores right now, unless we're looking for a kill.
Yeah, well, we have an upgrade advantage as well, so we can just use this third as a bait base and use it as a way of forcing a fight against the mutas as well. It also does make Naka want to have to take his own third base. He is doing so kind of in line with saying he has the upgrade advantage right now, so he's going to be coming in for a huge fight. And with the upgrade advantage, 2 Carapace to 1 Carapace, Saiyan should be able to win this fight unless Naka has very good Mutalisk target firing. Saiyan should definitely win this fight, and it looks like he is doing so. There is a link counterattack at the third base of Saiyan, whittling down the HP of that hatchery, but it's going to take them a long time to kill the hatchery with just 2 Zerglings. Another pack of 6 Zerglings making their way up there as well to help get the job done after those get cleaned up maybe, but they will be intercepted on the way, so they have to go around the left hand side to kind of try and remain unseen for the time being. Maybe they can come in here and pick up this hatchery later on, but for the time being I think that he's going to keep the hatchery safe.
Yeah, we actually have a muta spotting the lings as well on the left side, so these won't be able to get in and do anything. I feel like with the denial of that third and not being able to stop Saiyan's third, it's looking pretty grim for Naka. I mean, this is kind of ZVZ in a nutshell as well. Once the muta count gets too far ahead, it just seems so difficult for Zerg to make a comeback.
Yeah, I'm trying to remain as impartial and non-biased as possible and non-emotional and analyze this game logically. But I got a little warmth in my heart with the prospect of Saiyan maybe coming out with the win here. But I'm going to try and squash that down for the time being. We're just going to analyze this game on the fly. Link's coming in from Naka now, picking off some of these drones at the third base location. It's a little bit of a nice pick off here, but he's not enough DPS to finish off this hatchery. So unfortunately, most of those Zerglings going to be going down for not much. But another Link counterattack into natural expansion, which is a much better counterattack because more drones are falling for SaiyanSC, which is slightly evening up the worker count. It's not quite the damage that he needs to get ahead in this game, but it is the kind of thing that he needs to keep doing to keep Saiyan kind of back a little bit, worried about potential counterattacks, give himself enough time to get his third base online, get his own third gas going. But look at this gas bank for Saiyan, nearly 2,000 gas. Holy shit! Spend your money.
Yeah, if we can spend our gas, then I feel like we can just completely overwhelm them. I mean, we already have like such a massive lead, but do you feel like in this situation, if you're Naka, is there anything you can actually do to make a comeback from here?
Well, it's
like, what do you think?
It's CVZ, so anything can happen. Like, you can bait his muters around the map, make him think that that's all you've got, but really you've got like these other muters waiting over here, and they fly in and snipe a bunch of drones. There's all kinds of like fancy tricks you can do, but it's really hard to actually pull out a win with those fancy tricks, especially once spores are in the equation. So yeah, it's a really tough situation. I think one thing he could be doing is maybe taking a hidden fourth base. Like, let's say for example, one thing Naka could have done is like take this base up in the top right and take that as like a hidden fourth and like use that to like power up and go into hive and then try and get out Devourers and maybe, or even Queen's Nest with the end snare would be an idea. Like some kind of like tech advantage, because he's behind in upgrade, so he needs some kind of trump card to use against Saiyan here right now. We do see more and more of these Link counterattacks coming in, but they're getting cleaned up too cost efficiently by these packs of muters right now. So we need some kind of tech play from Naka to counteract this superior force. Oh. Uh-oh.
Is that me or you?
I'm seeing everyone, so that might be me.
Yeah, that means it's you. Well, while we wait for this, so we do have Queens coming down for both players. Is Defiler a potential comeback unit? Is Plague something you can go for?
Plague is something you can go for. Ensnare, Plague, Devours are all things you can go for. It's not necessarily the best thing to go for, but they're certainly all very valid in dealing with big packs of big flocks of muters. They're all stacked up, so anything like that's going to be great. Maybe I could, if you could stream on Discord, maybe I could cast from there.
Yeah, I'll do that. Not only can I, but will I.
I appreciate that, bud.
Even though you say my observing is horrible to watch. Completely lost the rhythm. We're up to 3k gas bank from Saiyan, by the way. I almost wouldn't even mind him not mining from this geyser for a little bit first and getting our mineral income going a little bit stronger. Just because it feels like we're never going to spin this gas bank.
Oh, God. There we go.
Mutaflock flying into the third here. We do have 3 defensive spores here and a few Scourge, but we might have enough to overwhelm. We are 2-1 upgrades versus 1-0. It's so hard to like watch Muto fights and tell who's winning. Yeah, so with the 3 defensive spores, we're actually trading really, really well here for Naka.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. Yes, it is working for me. I can see.
I guess the only thing is while that was like a really good defensive trade there for him, it's just the eco is just really, really far behind now. We're not really able to mine from our third just yet. We're getting a few drones coming out now, so we're evening up the drone count a little bit here. But this gas bank from Saiyan just seems like it's going to be so difficult to overcome.
Oh yeah, I don't see how. Like, there's so much gas that he can leverage. The only thing that's bottlenecking it a little bit is the fact that there's not quite enough mineral income for him. But as time progresses, he will still be able to squeeze out units with that gas. But oh, okay, there's the Defiler Mound. Okay, here we go. That's what we want to see. A little bit of plague action would be absolutely exceptional here, but it's going to be a little bit of time before that comes online, another few minutes, so there's plenty of window here for Saiyan to come in and do some critical damage with these Mewers if he so chooses. He does have currently a huge advantage in the air with that force, so could make something happen if he wants to, but maybe a little bit hesitant to fight over the spores.
Yeah, after that last trade, maybe he wants to play a little bit safer. Yeah, it seems like Saiyan's just not 100% sure like where he's at, I think. I know it can be really hard to tell sometimes, especially in mirror matchups, right? Like, from his perspective, it's 3 base versus 3 base. He just took a trade that didn't go that well. He knows he's floating 2k minerals, or 2k gas, so it might be a little bit hard to tell like how far in the lead he is right now for him. We're actually on Greater Spire, so we got Defiler versus Greater Spire, so it's going to be Devourer, right? Yeah,
Devourer will be the choice from Saiyan up against the Plague choice from Naka. Both are very valid choices in the late game phase. I do like the fact that Naka's choosing the Plague, though, because I don't feel like he can win going Devourer here. So I think that this is definitely the superior choice for Naka going forward. Even getting the Crackling upgrade as Naka, so these circling counterattacks are going to get more and more insane as time goes on. Even with, imagine if he somehow got a Dark Swarm down at one of these expansions as well. The Muters can't even clean up the Cracklings. It would be wild to see. Going to be nuts here. Going to see some late game ZVZ action. Nice way of starting to wrap up the evening with some of these more intense games. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. We've also got some other hot action still from Wolfix and JU, I believe, coming up. But for the time being, we've got this amazing game going into the late phase with some consuming Defilers getting ready to launch the Plague. Plague is on the way, though. It's not ready yet, so only Dark Swarm is available currently. Going to be coming in with all these huge flock of Mewers. Going to be just getting on top of these spores and not worrying too much about them anymore. Now just going to be trying to use his superior air fleet to dominate Naka right this second, right now. All the spores are starting to fall. So are the Mutalisk force of Naka. He has Plague on the way, but it's not ready yet. And he's going to be maybe losing this expansion in the time being, reducing him to just 2 base worth of economy. And we still have a bit of a bank of gas for Saiyan waiting as well. So he's got another 1200 gas in the kitty to use later on. Ha, Capcom. Now coming into the natural expansion with the rest of the Mewers. There's still 4 spores, but there's not enough Mewers to keep fighting this. There is enough tanking on these Mewers. GG is cool. SaiyanSC bringing out the win for Team Snow Forgotten Bros. Thank you for crushing the Naka Meister there and getting a wing on the board there. SaiyanSC, absolutely exceptionally well played games. I'm really proud of you, buddy. Wasn't too confident and happy about game number 2, but that's okay. You played really well in the series, and I'm sure surprised a lot of people here today taking out Naka.
Yeah, pretty well played by Saiyan. I didn't really see the first 2 games, but I feel like he handled that whole situation pretty well. I really like the harass after he got the mutas up to basically stop himself from falling too far behind. Because, like, if you think about how many drones he killed, he probably killed, what, 15 drones? Maybe even more. Plus forced out extra spores and everything, and it still came out where they were almost even on drone. So if he didn't do all that damage, then it could have been pretty rough for Saiyan, I feel like. So really well played by him.
Yeah, really impressive stuff indeed. And I'm really happy we finally got 2 points more on the board for Team Snow Forgotten Bros there. They had a bit of a rough showing tonight, but there have been some very close games as well, so the score not necessarily indicative of the entire performance of the evening, but certainly a more one-sided matchup thus far with the Team Loveboat pulling out ahead thus far. We still got a couple of games coming up between some high-tier players. I believe we got Wolfix against the likes of JU coming up. Don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to take a little intermission here, and we'll be right back.